everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish on the Movies. We are the only YouTube review channel that reviews movies in terms of food. But right now we are taking a little hiatus from our Vincent Price movies, which we're almost done. I only have 2 more left to do, but right now we are reviewing The Alienist. Season 2, yay! I'm so excited. I know Marco's not, but you never know. He might be surprised. But it brings back all the usual suspects. Daniel Bruhl is Dr. Kreitzler. Luke Evan plays John Moore, the newspaper guy. Dakota Fanning is Miss Sarah Howard. And the Isaacson brothers. Marcus and Lucius are played by Douglas Smith and Matthew Scheer. And the biggest villain of all, who was in The Silence of the Lambs and played Buffalo Bill, he plays Mr. Burns, who is Ted Levine. And the next 4 weeks, I guess it will be every Sunday night, will be 2 episodes of The Alienist on TNT. I think on Eastern Standard Time will be 9 and 10 o'clock. And according to Google, this season's Alienist is, quote, inspired by Caleb Carr's second book in the Alienist series, called Angel of Darkness. Right off the bat, I think it would have served the show's purpose to introduce some of the detail from the book. And yes, that means I am reading the book at the same time. I know it said inspired by, but I think it would have helped it, especially in this first episode, which seems to be everybody's problem. The first episode of any continuing series always seems to be a problem. So, watching the first episode, which is entitled Ex Ore Infantium, was like trying to hop onto an already spinning merry-go-round at the park, running to catch on. A woman, and it's dark, and there's this woman. She looks like she's in a hospital. She wakes up to feel the bassinet next to her, but it's empty. She flings open the door from her room into a bigger room full of sleeping women looking for her baby. In her pursuit, she accidentally knocks over some medical equipment and wakes everybody up. As nurses rush to her side, she tries to get away, to no avail. Dr. Marco, not like the one who reviews the channel, he's played by Michael McElhatton. He steps in the room and the distraught woman yells at him, "Where's her missing baby?" and says, quote, "You know I know what happens here." Ooh, what does that mean? The next moment we see women outside Sing Sing prison protesting against the upcoming new instrument of death electric chair, which will put Martha Knapp, which was that lady looking for her baby, to death for the murder of her baby. This is that same woman whose baby went missing in the hospital. Uh-oh, looks like she was set up. By whom and why? Then all the main characters, Dr. Kreitzler and Sarah and Luke, and then the bad boy, rush into the story, and we barely can catch up with them. And what have they been doing since the last case? Dr. K has been interviewing the almost executed Martha Knapp. She wants him to find out what happened to her baby. She doesn't care about herself. She just wants to know what happened to her baby, or wants him to know. Sarah Howard has set up a new detecting business. John is writing articles for the New York Times, and the infamous Mr. Burns is still causing trouble. He just can't wait to see that newfangled execution machine in action. Well, the deed is done, and it's pretty grisly. Then the agendas start pouring in with the crowd of women who are protesting the execution, when one of them, who is African American, and it looked like she was the only African American, gets clobbered over the head. Really? And also, guess who's leading the protest? Elizabeth Cady Stanton, one of America's famous women's rights activists. Marco?
What?
We are at the part where the woman has been executed and what everybody's doing.
Okay.
What else happens?
Okay.
Well, what do you think about it? What did you think about this?
I thought we were reviewing the 2 episodes.
Well, we are. We're going to just finish talking about this one and then go into the next one.
Oh. Well, I just woke up from a nap after Safi's, whatever that was. This episode was, how would you say it? Horrible. It felt like exactly like the last season. It had the same pros the last season had. It had the same cons the last season had. It seems like nothing's changed. There's tons of agendas. Whether they were direct or indirect, who cares? Because they were still agendas. And at the end of the day, agendas take away from storytelling, because people who use agendas, they don't care about storytelling. They care about where they can fit their agenda in. And so they see a story about a woman, and then they put all these agendas in there because she's a woman. She just happens to be a woman. And, like, you know, with a man, there's not really much agendas you can put in there. Well, at least none that they care about, because they don't care about men. And they just care about the certain things. And this episode was just terrible. There's nothing good I can say about it. I give it a D-. It was embarrassing. It was sloppy. It was amateurishly written. The acting was horrible. Dakota Fanning especially, doing whatever she does. I mean, I bet if you talk to her in real life, she'll be the same way. And so it would be really funny if you met her, and then she's exactly like she is on the Alienist, because she's so wooden. I mean, you can basically see the wood grain on the screen. Like, you can basically see it like she's Pinocchio or something. And so I bet that she wouldn't be fun to talk to in real life. And I wonder what the director was doing when she was trying to act, and the director's just sitting there saying that she's doing a good job. And, you know, he's not doing his job. Whoever directed this, he wasn't doing his job. And the mystery, don't care. There's no suspense. There's no horror. There's no drama. There was nothing. Sophie.
Okay, well, I think it, like I said, it felt like a merry-go-round in a park where you're running to catch on, because it was just like a whoop, and it's just, I don't know.
You loved it.
Well, I didn't love it. I felt like I couldn't catch up.
She said she was going to give it a B or an A.
Yeah, okay. I gave it a C.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's
Liar.
No, let's go to the next episode. Okay, it's followed by an episode called, quote, Something Wicked, which is weird. So, what happened to the baby? She didn't kill it, and so nobody knows where it is. Well, one day a little girl and her nanny go to a department store to shop, and the little girl wants to go look at the dolls. So she's looking at the baby dolls, and she picks up one, and it is dead. Scream! So Sarah, John, and Dr. K are on the case. Who is this baby? We find out only because Dr. K knew Martha's baby had a birthmark on a certain part of the body. The Isaacson brothers have examined the body, and Dr. K sneaks over there and they let him look. It is Martha Knapp's missing baby, and it was poisoned. Which means, everybody, an innocent woman was executed. All the mains are on the case. Then we discover that our country is having issues with the country of Spain. Certain characters in the United States, like William Randolph Hearst, editor of the New York Journal, wants to stoke the tensions between the countries by writing and printing falsehoods and misleading info about Spain. And it could lead to war, which is what they seem to want for some reason. Senora Linares, wife of the Spanish diplomat to Spain, is home alone with servants and her baby, and the baby is kidnapped one night. At the moment, her husband is out of town. She doesn't trust the police, and Elizabeth Cady Stanton comes in to help her, and they decide to call Sarah Howard to help them. A chunk of the book about this part of the story is missing and would have made it better. That's kind of something I have issues with. And I won't say anything else except, and it wouldn't have had to be a lot. Just a few little details would have enhanced this part of the story. And also the story about the possible war, by leaving those parts out, it just seems to, it's a shame. So anyway, all of the main characters are full in on the case, even the bad ones. And this episode was so much better. It felt more whole, and you get to see more of the characters and what's going on with them. Marco?
Stop copying me, stop it. I really like this episode. I give it an A.
Marco's so enthusiastic, it's like he just doesn't want to give it a good grade, but he did like it. He said that after he watched it.
Because I don't know why it's good. I don't know why it felt like someone different wrote this episode than last episode. And it felt like different people worked on this episode than last episode. And so I don't know who I'm rewarding when I say that I give it an A. I don't want to give the people who did a bad job with the first episode any
credit
or encouragement. Because they did such a terrible job with that episode. And like with this episode, it's like, oh yeah, you finally decided to make a good show. Like, oh okay. It only took like fucking 10 years to do that. Dakota, she did a better job in this episode. She improved on her acting in this episode. And then I did feel Luke Evans is boring this season, and I think that his character, he was a lot stronger last season, and so I don't like him very much. And this episode, it was really exciting. It had good pacing. It had good writing. I think my favorite scene was when he invites Dakota Fanning.
Dr. Kreitzler
He,
invites
he,
her.
he invites her to the restaurant, and then she yells at him and says that she doesn't like this certain kind of soup. And she's like, oh, we gotta go do something else now.
The soup she doesn't like is turtle soup. He calls it terrapin. Terrapins are turtles.
Okay. And he's like, but we can't leave. We're gonna have the yibby 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 yibby.
Well, he says they're going to have the foie gras.
Yeah, he said, no, it was something else too. It was like, yibby big bit. And it was like really funny because like the waiter was holding it and it looked like such pretentious rich people food, and
It was.
it's like you're worrying about this when you have to go solve this important case, and it's pretty funny. It reminded me of a Frenzy a little bit with that scene. And
You got to understand at this time, there's only two classes of people. There's the very rich and there's everybody else. That's it.
I also really liked, I would say that Dakota Fanning's best scene in this episode to demonstrate her acting improvement is the scene where she defends John Bohr when he's getting attacked and he's gonna get killed.
He's about to get his throat cut by a street thug.
And she comes over with a little gun.
Derringer.
And I thought that was really cool, and I thought that was a great scene. And I thought the scene at the end was very creepy, and so I think this was a great improvement. But I'm hesitant still because it feels like since they're the agenda show basically, that they could have agendas again as they did in the last episode.
All right, well, what's your grade of this one? You gave it an A?
I already told you, I gave it an A.
Okay, well, so did I, and I have...
See, everybody, she's copying me.
No, I'm not. And then I have some quotes from the show, which I used to write for the newspaper, and I probably still could. It's just a little bit more work, which I'm devoting to reselling. But I like to pick out some quotes, and it seems like so far in this show, a lot of the good quotes are reserved for Daniel Bru's character.
He has the only good quotes, by the way. He is the only character with any good dialogue.
Well, I have 4 here. And first of all, here's one. He goes to see Sarah and asks her how her new business is. And she says, oh, I just get these old, she calls them old dowagers.
You have to say it how she says it, Sophie.
Well, I can't
Talk
remember.
like she talks.
I don't know. Anyway.
Talk like you're a wooden person.
I just can't do that. But anyway.
I'll have to mimic it next episode. I'll do an impression.
Okay, well, anyway, she says she gets these old dowagers who all they're worried about is the servant stealing from them. And Dr. Kreitzler says, the curse of the greenback. The more money they make during the day, the more they worry at night about losing it. Sound familiar? Yeah. Okay, now we have number 2, and guess who's doing this one? Mr. Burns. He is visiting Lucius, one of those brothers who investigates the forensic part of the cases. And Lucius is working on the baby.
Wait.
What?
You gotta talk like Buffalo Bill.
I can't talk like Buffalo Bill.
Damn you, Sophie.
So anyway, the other guy, his brother, Marcus, he's off. And he's working on the case. He went to see somebody or whatever. And so Mr. Burns says he's threatening Lucius and says, after he talks to him, he says, sometimes you have to kill a chicken to frighten a dog. which means that if Lucius doesn't do what he wants, which gives him information, he might kill his brother. That's basically what he said, or somebody else might. Okay, number 3. This is 2 more. Miss Howard has 2 people working for her, 2 ladies. And after watching that horrible execution of that woman, which was really gross anyway, no matter who it would have been, even if it's been a man, woman, anybody. This was the first female ever executed in New York, and it kind of paralleled another mother.
Electrocution is way worse than hanging, in my opinion.
That's why they don't do it anymore.
If you go back to Hell on Wheels, they showed like how they have that person who like specifically measures the rope and does all this certain stuff to make it so that each specific person dies right then and there, because there's a lot of people who say that like it doesn't work and it's a blah blah blah, but if it's done properly then it works really easily. And then, with electrocution, it's a lot more unpleasant.
Well, it was pretty gross. Anyway, she's upset about it, and one of her employees says, "Mothers hold their children's hands for a short time, but their hearts forever."
Yeah, I bet you like that quote, Sophie.
Okay, and the last one is from Dr. Chrysler, because like I said, he has the best... seems like the best quotes of everybody.
Dr. Christ.
Dr. Chrysler and his driver, Stevie. Do you remember Stevie, the driver? Well, he's back in this show, and he says, "Why are we at this place? What they're doing is Dr. K is visiting the lying-in hospital. That's what it's called, if you can believe that. That's where this woman." Baby disappeared, and this is where Dr. Marco works.
That's where I work.
And Dr. Marco is a bad guy.
I'm a bad guy.
But they're outside of the place, and Dr. K is about to go in, and Stevie says, "Why are we here? It's such a waste of time." And Dr. K says, "Time is never wasted when one is thinking. That is what is wondrous about the human mind." And then he goes in, and he wants to see Dr. Marco, and Dr. Marco knows who he is. And
I knew who he was.
And he says, "Tell Dr. Chrysler to go to hell."
You didn't talk like the guy, though.
No,
You're supposed to talk like the guy.
I can't talk like I'm in the late 1800s.
You have to talk like the people that you're doing the quotes from.
All I know is some of the things that are going on in the
Oh,
environment...
no, okay, don't do that.
...that have nothing
Don't
to do
do
with
that.
women
Don't
or
do that.
anything.
Don't go there, Sophie.
They have 2 classes of people.
Sophie.
But they never had anything but
Sophie?
2 classes of people.
Sophie, let's keep your eye on the ball.
What happens when we've had middle class
Are you
for
excited?
a long time?
Are you excited?
It can't just
Are
disappear.
you excited for season 2 of The Alienist?
Yes, I am.
What are you most excited about? Seeing
Well, actually,
Miss Wood, seeing her attempt to act?
Actually, I don't particularly care about people killing babies. I don't like that. I just don't like it. I didn't like it.
So you're going to be biased and say that you don't like it because you don't.
No,
it's too
I
depressing.
like it, but it's
viewers,
it's unpleasant.
Just so you know, Sophie has some certain biases, and we discovered this when she watched Buffalo 66, one of the greatest movies of 1990s when it was made, apparently. And Sophie basically gave it a bad rating, or she said she didn't like it because it was quote unquote depressing. And so whenever there's something where there's something dark that happens or it's depressing, she automatically has a bias against it because of that. And so she's not viewing it like a show or a piece of entertainment. She's viewing it as something that's going to depress.
Well, that's not true because I gave this
Because
episode an A.
yeah, but this wasn't depressing at all. Neither was
No, it was
last episode.
interesting.
Neither was last episode. That stupid agenda, bad episode of television.
Well, I didn't care for the execution. Okay, I'm sorry.
I was
but-
bored. I wanted to go to sleep.
Oh, he's full of it because he's never sleepy.
Me?
Well, not like me.
Well, that's
Well, anyway, so everybody stay tuned for next week's 2 episodes. Remember, back to back,
It's
9 and 10 o'clock
2 a
on
week.
TNT. 2 uh-oh.
Two a week. Soppy, keep your eye on the ball.
And
It's 2 a week.
on TNT on Sunday night.
And
Okay?
you know what else was really good about this episode and the last week's episode? They didn't have any agenda commercial.
Oh, yeah, that was something
Surprisingly.
weird last season.
Yeah. It
They
was,
had, I mean, this
You
really
describe
is
it,
an
Sophie.
agenda.
you describe it.
I don't know. It was like they got on, they showed all these different, especially there were shows that were on TNT that were all featuring women in a prominent way. And they said, this is the only channel where, I don't know how they put it, I think Marco remembers exactly, but something like we feature women and prominently, and they are, and all the shows are directed or written or whatever produced by women, only women, or mainly women.
Yeah, that's what they did legitimately.
And they played this commercial several times. I couldn't believe it. Really,
They played it every episode.
it freaked me out.
Every episode. Sometimes they would play it multiple times. And so, like, when you look at something like that and you try to tell me that it doesn't have an agenda, then you're fucking retarded. So,
Okay,
I would say this season is mixed so far. It might be really good, or it might be terrible like last season. And so, yeah, that's about it.
All right, everybody. We'll see you later.
What do you say at the very end, though?
Please like and subscribe and leave a comment below. We welcome your views and opinions.
Say it in Buffalo Bill's voice.
I can't. If you want to, you can.
I don't want to. I don't want to be Buffalo Bill.
Well, I don't either, and
Yeah, you do.
I don't even know how I would do that.
I don't know.
Okay, everybody, see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.